impromptu, yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. Back to
Yeah.
another.
Welcome to season 2 of. Wait, what episode is this? 7?
7.
Are we only
Eleven.
at 7? Damn.
Season 2, episode 7 of Rogues Gallery.
Yeah, like in the title. This is the show. Haha. Yeah, so this is a show we talk about all things D&D and TTRPG. And as usual, we have everyone today. We didn't have everyone last time, I think. Yeah, but
Yeah, we were missing Creed.
we're full cast today. So, I don't know why it's so awkward today. Anyway, let's.
It's like you gotta do the warm up.
You don't have to do that.
No, you
No.
have to. No, that's definitely
You don't?
necessary.
I mean, I gargle every time before.
Yeah. No. Anyway, let's go to the news.
Oh dear. Alright. Alright, welcome to Tabletop. Today we'll be talking about tabletop topics today. We're back and welcome back to some news, and of course the first thing that we have to watch today is this. In case you guys don't know, Otherworldly Tales released a new trailer. Now this one's not really, what's the word? It's not really like a new content or anything, but it's kind of like a semi behind the scenes a little bit. So why don't we just quiet down the music a little bit and let's enjoy it, shall we?
Yeah, what trailer?
Can you guys hear?
We can hear.
Dungeons and Dragons is that classic hero's journey about a ragtag group of misfits.
I feel like this is a new
They
character
have to
that we
fight
didn't see
dragons
before.
and evil wizards in order
The paladin,
to
was he
save the
there?
world.
The paladin
Yeah.
was there.
Oh,
Yeah, he
okay,
was there.
then maybe it's just me then.
Figure
Okay,
it out
alright.
over a drink.
Probably best.
That's the
It's
first.
about finding your own hero within. And each character has their own version of that journey.
That was pretty cool. It's like an enchantment or some shit.
What is it exactly that you bring to
I
this?
dipped my
Yeah, now I do want to know what magic item
Circlet
is
of
that.
blasting.
I guess.
I dipped my weapon in lava.
And that
That's-
allows
that's
us to
the
have as
thing.
much fun with this
That's what
as we
you
can.
can do in DM.
Keep still.
I'm glad he's on our side.
The nuances that each individual actor
Paladin,
brings.
Green
What
Flame
makes
Blade.
it so great.
Yeah, oh yeah!
Blade.
And he's a warlocky type.
Protected with your very life.
I will. Hold this.
Sounds like a bard.
ruthless band of thieves. But he's not as evil as the Red Wizard.
Never put your trust in a con man.
The Dungeons and Dragons world.
I have no idea what that stone dragon is.
I also do not know if that is still shield, because a lot of people think that's
Is that
that's
a
fireball.
gargoyle?
Kentu. That looks like a Kentu.
Yeah, the
I mean, the stone dragon thing.
Oh, the
Yeah.
stone
I guess gargoyle, yeah.
Movie making.
the fire dragon, red dragon is so fucking chunky. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, this campaign has a lot of homebrew shit in it. I mean, do it really to
Pulling
offense.
hair up of a human color.
Yeah, that's
Hey guys, it's a homebrew setting. It's a homebrew
homebrew
setting. Give it a
setting.
chance, yeah.
This is not one of
Tieflings
the
can be colored normal.
Hey.
What do you mean normal? Jeez.
It's racist.
Wow.
Stop playing characters we don't have it any right to complain though.
I mean, yeah, we have a bunch of our stuff as well, so But yeah, like people were talking about how they're actually using what do you call it, mechatronics for the dragons and everything, which is pretty cool. I thought the paladin was new actually, but apparently not. So
No, he's
that's
always
Really?
that's
They're not using CGIs. They're using practical effects now.
I mean, yeah. I mean, obviously they're not gonna be 100% practical effects. It's gonna be some CGI. Most probably they're gonna do what most kind of like top tier do now. They have mechatronic and then they enhance it with CGI. And like how they did it in Mad Max as well. It's like real life and then they just add special effects in there.
It's probably for
Because it's really hard to mimic physics and everything for CG, right? You're our 3D effects specialist here, War.
So from what I'm looking at, from what of the behind the scenes footage I saw, I feel most of the animatronics are definitely for close-up shots and whatnot. Everything else during a big action set piece, like when we see the red dragon or that stone construct that was looked like a gargoyle, we can presume or whatnot. That's definitely CG'd. Unless there's a scene that we definitely haven't seen yet. I don't think they're doing an animatronic for every creature in this movie.
Yeah, I don't think so. I'd be surprised if they do animatronic for the gelatinous cube somehow.
How? Damn.
It'd be fun though. Real people jumping into real gelatinous cube.
It's just a big gelatin.
It's a really big ballistic gel, you know?
You overestimate the structural integrity of Jello.
Hey, ballistic gels. I think maybe they use that. No. But yeah, that's the new movie trailer. They've also released a new poster as well, which is pretty cool. Highlights all our 5 main party members. The apparently semi-evil guy, the old man, and also an actual evil guy with the red mage, so to speak.
I think that's the BEG, my guy.
I mean, yeah, obviously, yeah. But the trailer just now is
she in red? Is she Ignis?
Hey!
Ignis after she turned to lichdom.
Ignis will still have her whole hair, okay? She's not gonna be bald!
Hey, if you're a lich, who knows, man?
She accidentally singed her hair one day and become the
Her hair is fire! You can't fire fire! It's fire!
No. It looks like fire. It's not fire.
It's canon. That is fire.
Alright, anyways, let's move on. Let's not linger on this. Next news! Tabletop Awards winners were finally announced, and guess who's the winner is?
D&D.
Actually, Coyote and Crow. That is the winner for the TTRPG section for the best role-playing game in Tabletop. Which is
CNC?
CNC. That's Command and Conquer, though. I shouldn't say that. That people get confused. Coyote and Crow. But essentially, for you guys who don't know, this is kind of like the setting is kind of like if there's no colonization that happened in America, so and then like that culture kind of develops a little bit alongside magic and everything. So that's kind of like the whole setting. It's kind of like African American. No, not African American. Was it? Not? It wasn't in
Native American.
That's the rude one.
Native American.
Native American. That's a different term for it, right? I don't remember what it's called. But yeah, Native Americans with their whole culture and they kind of like pick in that magic and then they add technology as well. So it's pretty cool. Give that tabletop a look, because when I was looking for references the technology plus magic systems, a lot of people recommend me Coyote and Crow, so you guys should definitely give that a look. Right.
Hey, wait.
Designer of the year is Banana Chan. Yeah.
If you guys remember Banana Chan.
Banana Chan managed to get Designer of the Year, which is pretty cool, to be honest. So, yeah. Anyways, that's it for the Dice Breakers Tabletop Awards. Next, OneD&D. New playtest is coming up. But one of the new playtests, they have 2 main contents, if I recall correctly. One is the expert class cleric. A lot of people are looking into that. One of the main complaints is spiritual weapon is now a concentration spell. So people were sad about that.
No, what? It's concentration, no!
But it is now scalable. When you hack at a higher level, it will become more powerful. So there's that.
Oh yeah.
Which I mean, to be honest, like even when I start playing it, when I first play with people throw me spiritual weapon, I'm like, that really should be a concentration. I immediately think that. But yeah. But yeah. That's one of the main thing, but that's not the main. That's not the main thing that is controversial right now. It's they're not using race as terms anymore in the OneD&D. Instead, they're using species this time around. And in the playtest, they gave out the playtest for 3 races. I think 2 is old, 1 is new. It's the Kender, Dragonborn, and one more. But the idea is race right now is a little bit controversial and all that, so they decided to say fuck that and then use species, which, in my opinion, is more accurate. Like the species, like the what do you call the the orcs, the humans, everything. Those are separate species, and the sub race is what we would actually call race. You know, but yeah, but one thing when they say species is that they have to be aware of. That means there's not gonna be half creatures anymore. Well, you know, because technically, when you say it's 2 different species, they can't breed with each other.
Well, there's a ladder.
People can't like
debate
create fireballs out of nowhere.
Like
But,
they're close enough to the genus. Technically, that's why it exists.
Yeah, it's possible.
right?
Yeah. But yeah, the idea is, but you know, it's a like Chris said.
Magic is the thing, and
Exactly. So you know, they could just.
I mean,
Exactly.
we had an anime that that dedicates themselves to interspecies relationship.
Yeah. So yeah, it is magic. So you know, they can literally do whatever they want. So so it's not really much of a big thing. To me, the decision is I agree with the decision. I disagree with the reason they made the decision. It's because the whole race is controversial.
You want to say? I mean, I understand.
Read your microphone, man.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
sorry. I was saying that I have the same opinion as Rin here because I understand the species. I mean, basically orcs and humans are different species, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't like the reasoning behind. Oh, we don't want to use race because race is a dangerous word now.
Yeah.
I mean, words are just words, right?
Not really.
I mean, some words can be offensive to people. That one I understand. I just disagree that race should be something that just move away. But they are a big company now. They're not like a tiny thing where they can focus on just the support of small group of people. They're really big, and when you go really big, you have to be more PC to appease a large number of people and everything. I understand the decision. I disagree. That should be the reason, but I do agree it's a good change. It's a complicated, but yeah, that's the main thing about the about the new playtest. But about the old playtest, we've gotten some results actually, and a lot of the changes that they made is apparently a lot of people agree. One of the main thing that surprised me, if I recall correctly, the D20 auto success auto fail. Apparently people that.
People what?
Yeah.
People don't like it. People
like it.
But that was
What's the auto success, auto fail thing?
But the 3 things here you can see here. High score. The highest scoring is everybody love the first level feat because that's just nice. It's fun. And then almost everything else scored 80%. There's only 3 things that dip into the 60s, which is the 2 races, Ardling and Dragonborn, because apparently it's a little bit. The Ardling is a little bit too much. They're trying to do a lot of stuff, so people don't like it, because it's not unique anymore. And Dragonborn, they don't like it because the relationship between the Dragonborn and the one in the Fizban's Treasury of Dragons. So people get confused with the ruling and everything. But the main thing that people don't like is the D20 rule. This one is because the what was it? When you get a net 20, you get a inspiration, if I recall correctly. Oh, sorry, I think you get a net 1, you get inspiration. So I guess people don't like that. So those are the 3 things that actually drop down from the rating, but the rest is actually pretty good. But yeah, they are going to release more of the scoring in the future, so keep an eye on that. What do you think about the specifically the D20 test rule there? The one where if you succeed or fail, you get like inspiration. That's the one.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't like inspiration being an objective rule. I want that to be an optional because usually I kind of feel like inspiration is just I don't know. It feels demeaning
It
a bit.
feels like, aw, you failed. Here, have a candy. Try again next
Yeah,
time.
that's literally the purpose, I think. Because like when you get that one, then you don't feel as bad.
I mean,
maybe it's because along the lines you say because this is a huge company now, so they have to appease to a lot of demographics.
But hey, apparently people don't like it, so but yeah, people don't like it, so that's nice. We might get.
You know what? I mean, as much as people like to do easy stuff, people hate it when you fail, but here's something that that people like give you something.
I don't need your pity, D&D.
Yeah, I don't need your pity. I failed, so what? I can do better next time.
But yeah.
Patronize me. The gods have done enough. The dice gods have done enough.
Alright, and finally, one last thing. Some TTRPG recommendation. Not really recommendation because it's not out yet. They just announced that they're going to make it. Gloomhaven, the role-playing game. Now, this is something I'm excited of because I've played the tabletop game. Not the RPG, the board game. Yeah.
Like actual board game, or do you mean
the actual board game?
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, the actual board game is super fun. The mechanic is really unique. It's basically when you play the game, it's about deck building. So you build up your deck of abilities, and then as you play, you use the abilities and so on. And you can upgrade the cards as you play, so the cards get more powerful and everything. So that's a pretty cool mechanic. And they're bringing that system to the TTRPG. So they're not just, making dice system and everything. They actually do not want to use dice in this Gloomhaven role-playing game. They want to avoid randomness and allow the players to strategize in what they say. So the quote here is, unlike other RPG systems reliant on dice and set character build structures, Gloomhaven, TTRPG, will continue to uphold one of Cephalofair, the developer, core mission statement, which is to minimize randomness and reward players' savvy. So that's going to be a cool thing that they're going to introduce. I am interested. The world is kind of like dark and the races are interesting. So I'm honestly looking forward to see this. It's coming out April 2023, so keep your eye on that. None of you have played Gloomhaven before, yeah? Except for Aina?
Dream, right?
I played the video game.
Yeah, the video game.
But my friend who plays Gloomhaven says it's different.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it felt different compared to the video game. I don't know why. The mechanics are the same, but in the board game, I was able to progress through the story. Just play through. It's hard, but we were able to progress. When I played with Aina on the video game, we had to play the mission 10 times before we were able to succeed.
No, 4 or 5 times. Okay, that's the first mission. But to be fair, I'm not the best strategist, and I just knowing the game. So.
It's just super hard. I don't know what they did, but the video game is hard. So, but I recommend if you want to play Gloomhaven, the board game, play the tabletop version. It's a bit expensive. It's like a couple £100. I think like 100, 200. I think like 150, 120 pounds or something like that. So that might reach 800 ringgit in Malaysia. But do give it a try. It is so good. But that is everything. You then back to Aida.
Oh hey, back to me. I'll throw it back to the next section.
No. Every time,
No.
every time I see
Oh
that,
my god! Oh my god!
We
Stop
were
it!
gonna
Stop it.
replace the body, the face. Oh no.
oh my god,
Oh my God.
this one is for some reason horrifying.
Why? Why is it horrifying?
Why
I don't know.
oh my-
I don't
Dude,
know.
I look cute, everyone.
Stop it!
Super cute.
Okay, so hello there, everyone. Welcome to Celebrity Atelier, where we, build your favorite character in D&D 5e system. Well, as I recall, last week we had Midoriya Izuku on the show, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
expert
So
voice
today, come again.
I think he was expertly voice acted by Rain.
Yeah. I mean, because he's just a guest, and I'm me, so I don't do voices.
Wow.
Okay.
So either way, today we're going to make his best friend,
Best
Uraraka Ochako.
Best friend. Best friend.
Wait, for now in
I think
anime, best
Bakugo
friend.
is more
For
best
now, for now. Okay, his love interest. There you go.
Yeah.
Ochako
Yeah, much
Uraraka.
better.
Yes,
You don't
Ochako
wanna hate on the
Uraraka,
shippers.
a fellow student of Midoriya in UA High, right? Yeah, UA High. She has the what do you call that? Zero gravity. Yeah, zero gravity quirk, which allows her to basically negate the effects of gravity on objects or person or creatures that she touches. Although her disabilities of hers has some upper limits, so he can only lift the weight equivalent of 3,000 tons, I think, or 3 tons. Where's the thing? Can't remember. And also, when she exceeds that limit, she becomes nauseous, or even when she levitates herself, she becomes nauseous. So that's her introduction. Let's go to her abilities. She has learned gun-hit martial arts, which is basically an hand-to-hand combat, focusing on jujutsu or takedown technique. She also has enhanced stamina, being superhero and all that. Enhanced, yeah. Her physical abilities must be enhanced. She also has tactical intellect. She's very smart. She likes to analyze, just like Midoriya. She likes to analyze the situation before taking action. And she has her quirk, zero gravity. And there are also a few. Here's a list of a few of her known attacks that she has. First one is possibly my favorite, which is Gravity Plus, where she combines her gun-head martial arts along with her quirk to basically lift people up and slam them down to the ground. And then she has Comet Home Run, where she lifts up objects and she basically bats it with another object, like a baseball bat. She also has Zero Satellites. This is later in the series where when she attaches grappling hooks to her armor, her wrist, where then she can levitate objects and throw the object using the grappling hooks. And for her ultimate move, she has Meteor Storm. So for all of you who are familiar with D&D thing, you should know what Meteor Storm will be, right?
Oh no!
Oh my god.
Let's go.
Let's go. Okay. That's that. So let's start. Let's go to D&D Beyond and create Uraraka Ochako. Okay. Let's do a normal thing. Let's go. What do you call her race? I pick her race to be a variant human because she needs a starting feat. And ASI in dexterity +1 and ASI in intelligence +1. Dexterity is because her fighting style is more akin to a nimble thing. She moves around a lot. She's not very tanky, so she has to do that. She has to move around, dodging attacks and stuff. And for intelligence, as we said before, she has a tactical intellect, so she's very smart. And for her feat, we're going to take Magic Initiate. The class we're going to pick is Druid, and the toolkit is Thorn Whip and Magic Stone.
Oh.
So
Wait.
this. What?
Oh, Thorn Whip. Okay.
Yeah, Thorn Whip for grappling
or
hook.
you would know it as Pierce Harkin.
Yeah.
The cantrip.
Yep.
That name is so good that's just the name of the spell to me now. Pierce Harkin.
So Thorn Whip is her grappling hooks. And Magic Stone would be her, combat home run. She touches stones around, DB around, and
Was it at
give that stone magical properties, right? And for the first level spell, I recommend Healing Word, but you can pick any other spell for that level 1.
The important one is the cantrip.
Yeah, the important one is the cantrip. Yeah. Okay, so for backgrounds, we're gonna go for Cloistered Scholar, just like Midoriya Izuku last week. Fellow students in the same school. And for flavor-wise, because they get skill proficiency in history, history lessons in school, right? And also skill proficiency in Arcana, because mutations is magic in D&D.
Yeah, that's the closest to superheroism that we get.
And also, they also have they got equipment, which is school robes, right? And the school robes is that cute Japanese anime outfit. The UA school outfit, school uniform, call it school uniform. And also the feature library access. Well, in the anime, they have access to the school's tech, the support. What do you call support?
Support course.
Support set, yes, support course. So that is the library access, I guess. Well, that's all for the background. Let's go to ability scores. So strength is 14. I'll get to that why. Don't worry. Strength is 14. Dexterity is 11. Constitution is 12. Intelligence is 15. Wisdom is 10. Charisma is 10.
Intelligence is 15?
Yep, intelligence is 15.
There's only one class that uses intelligence.
Artificer.
Wait, what is what? Hold on, you're too fast.
I was assuming Blade Singer
Is
Wizard.
14.
Uh-huh.
Dex is 11.
Wait, what's 14?
Strength.
Oh, okay.
I'll get to that. I'll get to that. I'll get to why strength is 14. Don't worry. Yeah, Dex is 11. Con is 12. Intelligence is 15. Wisdom is 10. Charisma is 10. Okay.
Well rounded.
That strength has to be a multi-class thing, right?
Yeah, it's multi-class thing. And also remember she has gun-head martial arts, so the way I feel that come again.
Is Dex 11? I can't.
Dex is 11 because we have +1 from variant human, so 12 in total, right? So +1. Okay. So strength is 14 because she has gun-head martial arts, right? And even in the anime, she's strong enough to lift up an adult human male and slam him to the ground with force enough to render him unconscious. That is one. And also during what do you call that? There's one arc where they fought Class A and Class B were fighting together, right? They had a training, something combat simulation or something. Can't remember what it's called. She punches 2 of Class B's people once in and knocked them up. Let me rephrase that. She punched a person one time, and that guy just gets knocked up. So she is fairly strong. Mainly because she has that martial art training, right? So that is why strength 14. So let's go to her class, level 1. Level 1, we're going to go with fighter.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, come on. Okay. Because of
What is happening?
Level 1 fighter because 1d10 hit dice is for extra HP. She's gonna fight in melee, I guess.
Alright.
And you also want an unarmed fighting style, for
Of
her gun
course,
has
yeah.
martial arts. Yep, of course.
Okay.
And also skill proficiency in athletics because grappling checks.
Mm-hmm.
And also skill proficiency in acrobatics because of falling checks.
Oh, okay, because she's
Yeah,
gonna fall
because
a lot,
she
yeah.
floats a lot. Yeah, she has to,
Flexible.
drop from height. Right? Okay. At level 2, we're going to multi-class into wizard. Wizard 1.
Alright.
Okay, spell casting. The 3 cantrips you're going to take is doesn't matter whatever cantrip you can take, but I'll choose prestidigitation, light, and mending. Mainly I pick these 3 because you can flavor it these 3 into equipments, right? I mean prestidigitation, stuff,
Uh-huh.
producing stuff. Light is just light, mending is just repairing something. Okay.
Alright.
And then for the first level spells, these are her abilities. We have Tensor's floating disc.
Because floating stuff, fair enough.
Yep, because that is her quirk. Yeah, you touch an object, you can make it float.
Oh wait, is this
Quote
the
unquote make it float. Basically, you created an invisible disc of force under that object and make it float.
Okay.
So that is her quirk, okay? You also are going to take Featherfall because that is her quirk. And also we're going to take Catapult. Again,
Because-
Catapult.
Yeah.
Because
Meteor home run.
that is one of her attack, which is a zero satellite, where she touch a debris, make it float, and then throw it with her, what do you call that? Her grappling hook.
Oh.
So
Alright.
that is
Oh,
sort of
that's
how catapult works, right?
Yeah.
You throw stuff. And the last 3 first level spells is I'm gonna take Mage Armor because you need armor. Steel and Silver rebuffs are
Oh, you
because of
already-
defensive
but-
spells.
But you already have fighter armor proficiency. Why would you want to get it?
Yeah, because Mage Armor gives you 14 AC, while Light
Yeah.
Armor gives you only 12.
Oh, why won't you just wear plate armor or something? Oh, we can't wear
Or
plate because you don't have enough
Wizard,
strength.
so,
But, like,
yeah.
Oh.
I mean, like you get proficiency though, since you are
Yeah,
a
but-
fighter.
Yeah, but because, Uraraka never wears heavy armor, right?
I guess.
At level 3, Wizard 2, we're going to take Blade Singing.
Oh,
That's
I
the
knew
reason
it.
why, because Blade Singing, you cannot play song while wearing medium or heavy armor.
well, there you go.
Well, the reason why we take Blade Singing because we want to buff her AC. So Mage Armor gives you 14, right? And with Blades, when Blade Song is active, you get a plus your intelligence modifier, which is currently a +3. So that is an effective AC of 17. Damn.
Ooh, at 3rd level? Damn.
Yep, at 3rd level. Without wearing armor, man, you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, walking speed of +10, Blade Song. It also gives you advantage for dex saves, because she's very dexterous. Like I said, the way she fights is she moves around. She moves around a lot. Okay. And also, you get to plus your intelligence modifier for con save, to maintain spells. This is her enhanced stamina things. Because, she can concentrate more in fights.
Alright,
Oh.
yeah, fair enough.
Okay. So her first level spells that she can take right now is I'm choosing Detect Magic and Identify. It doesn't matter because this is not part of her work, but I mean these 2 spells are useful in D&D campaigns. Okay. So I'm going to bring this to level 4 for Wizard 3 to complete the build. Because you get your 2nd level spell. First one is Levitate, because that is her quirk. She negates gravity, so Levitate. And the second one for second level spell, we're going to take Kinetic Jaunt to increase her the character's movement speed. Because you get another +10 of movement speed, and then you can move through an enemy space. and your movement don't provoke attacks of opportunity. So, side note on the levitate spell, okay. Besides, this is her quirk, right? She can make things levitate, right? You can also use this in an attack in conjunction with your normal attacks and all stuff.
Yeah.
To use her gravity plus, which is basically on turn 1, you activate Blade Song, you go in close, and then you grapple someone. On your next turn, at the start of your turn, because you have unarmed fighting style, right? You will deal 1d4 at the start of your turn to the creature you're grappling, and then use your action to cast Levitate on yourself, which will propel you 20 feet up. And Levitate spell says you yourself can use your movement to float another 20 feet up, so you can fly 40 feet up, and then you can, sort of either you can, for flavor, you can lose your concentration and smack the guy down to the ground, or and take the damage yourself if you want to, or you can just drop the guy down, and you can, you can drop back, to continue your attacks, or you can still attack using your magic stone cantrip, right?
But grappling someone would be difficult though with a +2 strength.
Yeah.
Well, proficiency, so...
Proficiency with athletics though.
Fair enough, I guess.
Yeah, so... this is just the start of the build at level 4. And at later levels, so we're going to bring Wizard to level 18.
Wow.
We're going to, do this quickly. At level 6, you're going to take Smells Meteor, because this is one of her abilities, which is, throw stuff. Smells Meteor creates 6 floating meteors around you. Mm-hmm. As a bonus action, you can throw 2 of those meteors to an area and deal damage. And at level 7, you get extra attack, so you can punch or grapple punch, and then levitate for your gravity plus. Okay. At level 14, you get reverse gravity. Okay. Side note on reverse gravity. Uraraka never did this herself, but Himiko Toga, when she using her quirk turned into Uraraka, she basically used this reverse gravity technique where she, throw people up in the air and then drop them down into the ground. So you can do the same if you want.
Uh-huh.
And then you can take Crown of Stars. Crown of Stars is just like Melt's Meteor, only better and stronger.
A lot of throwing stuff at people.
Yep, a lot of throwing stuff at people. And at level 18, you get Meteor Swarm. And that is your Meteor Storm. The same thing, alright? And that's all. That is Uraraka Ochako. Oh, and also I have side note here, multi-classing options. Like Rain said, grappling people it's hard with that low strength, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, not only on ASIs, you should, increase your intelligence and strength, but you can also take 2 levels in Artificer to get infusion, so you can get Armor of Magical Strength, which you can add your intelligence modifier to any strength check.
Oh my god. So it's a wizard fighter artificer multi-class. Brilliant.
It's optional though. If you really want that, you want to grapple someone and not let go.
Yeah.
Do this.
Alright.
And so this is Ochako Uraraka. So for her name, I'm gonna give her the name of Gravy Tea.
Gravy
Tea?
I like that.
Oh my god.
I am slow.
Very slow
Alright,
today.
I got it.
I had less sleep than you, and I already cringed from that.
Are you sure?
So there you go, guys. How about it? Do we get Ochaka Uraraka or Uraviti? Her hero name is.
think it's pretty good. Like you got all the throwing abilities and all the gravity spells, which is perfect.
It's
you started
definitely
listing off-
playing.
Go for it, man.
Go. Yeah.
Go again.
You're definitely playing Ochako, but I don't think it's optimized in the slightest. It's definitely an Ochako build. I'll just say that much.
I mean,
Great.
it's not
Yeah.
perfectly optimized because it doesn't have +5 in intelligence. It's, multi-class and all that.
At this
But it's
point, with
solid.
level 18, you have a lot of ASI to do that.
Yeah, you have 4 ASIs.
I mean,
Do that.
consider this is your ability score at level 1, so...
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So
It's solid. And when you were listing off all the abilities that she has in the show, I was not expecting you to do all of this without 17 subclasses, 5 different classes. Good.
Yeah. To be fair, I mean, artificer one is just optional though. You don't have to do it because I mean, even without that artificer thing, once you reach level 15, you get the capstone for Blade Song. You actually get to add your intelligence modifier to your unarmed attacks.
Yeah.
So that is a D8 plus your strength modifier, hopefully a 5, and then plus your intelligence modifier, another 5.
All right. Not too bad.
Yeah, so I mean, it is you get 2 attacks with it, so it's kind of okay-ish for normal attack, and then I mean you can still pick the OP wizard spells if you want, but that's not Uraraka though. It's not Uraviti.
Well,
Fair enough, I guess.
But when doing this, I did some calculation. Crown of Stars and Melt's Minute Meteor is it can deal decent amount of damage as well. For example, Melt's Minute Meteor is 2d6 per meteor. You have 6 of it, and every turn you can throw 2. That is a 4d6 per turn.
Sure, and a chance to crit as well with those.
No, Melts is just what do you call that?
Is it
it's a saving throw.
Oh, okay.
Crown of Stars is the OP one because it is a level 7 if I recall correctly. So it's a level 7. It's not concentration for some reason.
Not a concentration?
You have it's not a concentration. You have 7 stars. Each turn you can throw only 1 stars. But each stars deals 4d12 and it's a rich spell attack. So you can crit with it.
Yeah. That's gonna be painful.
Yeah, and then the duration is 1 hour, so you can use it for multiple combats per day.
Oh, okay. That's good. And you'll just have floating orbs of light around you when you're just traveling in a dungeon.
Yep, that is true.
That's just scary. Honestly, that's just so menacing.
So although these 2 spells the burst 1 turn damage, right? But it makes up with multiple turns of damage.
Yeah. So hey, anyone watching, leave us a comment down below or in the chat. What do you guys think of this build and how would you further optimize it if you do want to play it, or how you use it, I guess. So yeah, next let's just listen to some stories because I feel like everyone's kind of tired today. I don't know why.
Everyone's so quiet today, guys. Come on.
I feel like
It's not just me, right? I'm not hearing any intro music, right? None of it. I'm not hearing any.
Yeah, but I'm not hearing anything just from the beginning of
it was very laggy. It was very laggy.
Of course.
So I don't know. I think mine gets the laggiest for some reason, but it's fine. It's fine. We got lo-fi music. It's fine. So today I bring to you a story full of drama and it's extra long. So strap in, guys.
Let's go.
And some trigger warning. There are brief mentions of attempted suicide and death threats, but it wasn't the focus of the story. So just to preface people, whatever. So this is a
Brace.
story from r/RPG Horror Stories by Net20 Throwaway Check. This is a throwaway account. Titled Player Cheats on Boyfriend with Other Player Destroys Group. Oof. Okay, so this is a story about how my last TTRPG group fell apart due to players not respecting personal boundaries. I'm using a throwaway account as I know some of the people involved read Reddit and I don't want to incite or be on the receiving end of resulting drama. So for ease of reference, the cast is as follows. Me, OP, which is the DM who runs a lot of systems, D&D, Call of Cthulhu, World of Darkness, Shadowrun, you name it. Then Bard, who is a close family friend of OP. They've known each other for over 10 years. Cleric, a friend of Bard and OP, who became a close friend of OP because he's very enthusiastic about playing D&D. Paladin, another of Bard's friends, and also best friend to Cleric. Rogue, Paladin's girlfriend. She used to be a fashion model and is completely new to the world of TTRPGs. And also Ranger, a friend of Cleric's from work who joins the game at the same time as Rogue. So our story begins in late 2019. A veteran forever DM of multiple game systems, was approached by my longtime friend Bard asking if I'd like to run a D&D 5th edition game for him and a few of our mutual friends. They've always been interested in D&D but never had the chance to play. So it's been a while since I've had a regular group, so I jump at the chance, and being able to introduce some of my closest friends to a hobby that's very important to me sounds like an excellent time. So Bart hosts our first few games at his house, and I meet and quickly become friends with Cleric and Paladin as they take to the game like naturals, and we spend many hours as after the game bonding over video games, music, and nerd stuff. So the group also includes my best friend of 20 years playing a gnome wizard and another of Bart's friends, but they're not very relevant to the events to come, so just mention for the sake of like establishing the original group before. So as most of the players are new to D&D and I am new to 5th edition, having only ran 3.5, I run the group through Lost Mines of Phandelver and we have a fantastic time overall. But then 2020 rolls around and with it comes the pandemic. So lockdowns begin and we can no longer meet at Bart's house to play in person. This doesn't end up being a problem as I quickly work out how VTTs work and set up a Discord so we can play online. Freed from the restriction of having to drive from all over the state to meet up physically, we even end up playing every week as opposed to only having a session every fortnight. Everyone is having a great time and playing TTRPGs keeps us all sane during the pandemic. After a while, Bard, Cleric, and Paladin even become interested in games other than D&D, so I end up running other games on alternating weeks, such as Call of Cthulhu, and even a bit of Vampire the Masquerade. So everything seems to be going well, and being all friends in real life, our group gels fantastically and has a bare minimum of drama. So it's after a few months of playing online that two things happen that will spell the eventual doom of the group and the destruction of years-long friendship. So the first is that Cleric begins to talk to a coworker about her adventures, and excited to try TTRPGs, that coworker asks if he can join us sometime. The second is that Paladin's girlfriend, who has spent the last few months listening to our sexy voices, her words, wants to finally join our game. I've been enjoying my time with the group, and in my mind, more people could only mean more fun times. So I welcome both of these newcomers, and Ranger and Rogue soon become valued members of the group. Sadly, it's here where things start to go wrong, but definitely not in a way I expected. So, the first red flag shows itself when Rogue asks me for build advice for her character. Being new to the game and wanting to be a helpful DM, I oblige her and we start talking on Facebook. After a while, the subject of this conversation changes from D&D to other nerd stuff and soon life in general. I start to value Rogue as a friend, and every now and then we spend hours talking to each other about our lives and problems and just generally being there for each other. Several times Rogue mentions that it was our sexy voices that got her interested in joining our game, and she says a number of things to me that are borderline creepy, such as asking what I, as a married man, think about polyamorism or showing me pictures of when she was a model and asking me if I found them attractive. At this point, I feel it's important to specify that I am actually asexual, and so the innuendo is lost on me, and I don't really think anything of it until my wife points it out to me. Now, realizing that Rogue is flirting with me and not wanting to lead her on, I tell her that I'm happily married and don't want to come between her and Paladin, because remember, Rogue is Paladin's girlfriend. And thankfully, our conversations return to normal afterwards. I still value her as a friend, and thinking I've nipped the problem in the bud, I put these anomalies out of my mind, and life continues on. The second red flag appears a few months later, when I notice Ranger and Rogue flirting with each other in-game. This upsets Paladin a little, as being new to the hobby, he still sometimes has problems separating in-character interactions from out-of-character interactions. So I immediately lay down some rules for the group, stating that romancing other player characters is off limits, as not everyone is comfortable with it, and both Rogue and Ranger agree to tone things down, and soon move on to romancing NPCs instead. It's at this point that Ranger comes to me to apologize, thinking he'd done something wrong. I tell him that no, nothing is wrong, it's just important sometimes to set boundaries, as not everybody treats the game with the same level of seriousness. He seems to understand this and casually mentions that he has been talking to Rogue out of game, getting to know her, and that she thought it would be a fun plotline for their characters. He states that Rogue, being Paladin's girlfriend in real life, shouldn't come into it, and that he and Rogue just wanted to act out a storyline. While I agree with him that Paladin should learn to separate the game from real life, I tell Ranger that I'm erring on the side of caution so that nobody is uncomfortable in-game. He says he understands, and I move on, feeling happy that I've resolved something and kept my group intact. Whew, so I still have a lot to go, but how do you guys feel?
That's so many more to go!
We're halfway, I think.
Go on.
So far, I think the DM is a good DM.
He's doing pretty well. I mean, he is experienced.
Early on, yeah, and then
He has
he tries to
experience.
solve it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's DM for 10 years, so I assume he knows how to see these details, I guess. But anyway.
He's not a D&D DM, he's a TTRPG DM.
Yeah.
He knows.
Yeah. So we keep playing
He's
for
very
a
well
while.
versed.
And while there's now a little bit of tension between Paladin and Ranger, it doesn't get to a point that disrupts the game. Then, suddenly, everything comes to a head in mid-2021. So I assume it's been like about a year or so of them playing as a group with like 5 people. I'm getting ready to begin the next day's session when I receive a message from Paladin. He won't be able to make it to the game and isn't sure when he'll feel up to playing again. Sensing that something's obviously wrong, both Cleric and Paladin were the 2 players in my group who had never missed a session up until that point. I look forward to the game day every week. So I ask him what had happened. Paladin tells me that Rogue has just broken up with him because she's been seeing someone else, and he is so shocked he couldn't possibly work up the energy to play. I'm not sure what to do, so I just tell him to take the time he needs, and if he feels up to it, he is welcome to join us anyway. He thanked me for my offer, but told me he'll need some time before he can play a game with Rogue in it, as he doesn't want either of them to bring their out-of-game drama into the game. Okay, so I'm feeling a bit put out by this bombshell, being down a player and being concerned for both Paladin and Rogue. But Bard, Cleric, and Ranger are all still keen to play, so I go ahead and run the weekly session as per normal. It feels strange without Paladin there, and I can't help but notice that Rogue and Ranger have started flirting in character again. Paladin isn't there to feel uncomfortable, I figure, so I caution them to be careful and to remember our rule, but basically leave them to it after a while, being blissfully unaware that everything is about to go wrong next session. Hasn't gone terribly wrong yet. So, the next week's session comes around, and Cleric and I have spent a lot of time consoling Paladin, eventually convincing him to come and play with us. We make a promise that both he and Rogue will be civil to each other, and that everyone is just there to play a game. And I recognize now, long after these events, that this was my mistake. By putting these 2 people together in a game, I was only inviting drama. But at the time, I thought I was just making sure my group ran smoothly and trying to maintain business as usual. So Paladin joins the session, and we ride into a dungeon crawl. There's some slight tension between Paladin and Rogue, but for the most part, the session is going smoothly, and everyone is enjoying working on the puzzles and sneaking around the monsters I've carefully placed. But then, for some reason, Ranger starts acting extremely competitive, trying to one-up everything Paladin's character does, and constantly belittling his decisions both in and out of character. He starts bragging about how he's dealt more damage this session, how he and Rogue work much better as a team than Paladin and Cleric do. So this obviously gets to Paladin, who is already in a bad frame of mind, and is essentially only there because Cleric and I forced him. Sensing some drama brewing, I stop the game and tell Ranger that he's being disruptive and warn him that if he doesn't stop needling Paladin, I'll end the session and kick him from the group. So suddenly, Rogue loudly exclaims that she doesn't care about Paladin's feelings and that he's just acting like a baby, and that if I was gonna kick Ranger, she would be leaving as well. I'm confused at this point, so I reiterate that attacking each other out of character is not tolerated in my game, and ask why she would be so offended by me telling Ranger to tone it down. So that's when Ranger drops the bombshell on all of us. He is Rogue's new boyfriend and has been dating her for at least a month. So, I mean...
Can we take a pause break?
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen that a mile away, but
Yeah.
Based on the way the story is played, yeah, it's from a mile away, it's for sure. But how did this man take such a left turn and just decided cheating and like cucking this guy is so okay? Where did it go wrong?
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta understand, she's a model, first of all. And so it's not difficult for someone to just turn like that. What I'm thinking is like, why the fuck would he just suddenly antagonize the guy in game? Which I'm assuming Rogue has been saying something to just bad mouthing Paladin this whole time.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Here's the thing.
Maybe their breakup was not smooth, and some
Obviously.
bitterness was left behind. And
Paladin did say that Rogue just told him she found someone else out of the blue. So that doesn't sound like a good end, if anything. So we're almost done. Almost done. Yeah.
Like 7 more pages left, almost done.
Kind of, yeah. What? Okay. So I'll read this paragraph and I'll summarize the update later. So this single revelation destroys the entire group in a matter of minutes. Paladin quits in a haze of anger and hatred, humiliated by Rogue and Ranger. Cleric is disgusted in Ranger's behavior and leaves to support his best friend. And obviously, I have no choice but to end the session, so I disconnect from voice chat and try to figure out how to process this mess. So Rogue comes to me apologizing for Ranger's behavior, but insisting they both did nothing wrong. I asked her what would make her think belittling Paladin in such a way right after they broke up was acceptable. Her response is to tell me why she broke up with Paladin in the first place. Apparently, she is polyamorous, and so nothing wrong with dating Ranger while still in a relationship with Paladin. And when Paladin discovered what she'd been doing, he quote unquote wouldn't accept that she was poly, and so she broke up with him. I didn't quite know what to say to this, so I just said that I accepted that she had her reasons and it was none of my business. My hope was that given enough time, people would start to cool down and we could move on. But it's almost uncanny how swiftly the aftermath unfolds and destroys any faint hope of salvaging anything from the mess. Because over the course of the next 48 hours, Paladin ends up having a mental breakdown, tries to unalive himself by downing an entire packet of paracetamol, and makes graphic unalive threats to both Ranger and Rogue that resulted him in being visited by the police, taken to hospital to have his stomach pumped, and then committed to the mental ward for a few days. So Paladin tells Cleric that he resents him for bringing Ranger into the group, and Cleric, understandably, cuts ties with Paladin due to this and his quite frankly scary behavior towards Ranger and Rogue. Ranger feels a little guilty and offers to keep playing with me, but neither me, Cleric, or Bard feel up to it. And Rogue still insists that she did nothing wrong and that everything was just a ploy on Paladin's part for attention. So this all happened about a year ago now. There's a bit more to the story, but this is already long enough and it seems irrelevant compared to what happened between, the trio. So I did intend to start a new game with Bard and Cleric and other couple of our friends, but shortly after this happened, I was diagnosed with a chronic illness, and unfortunately it took a few months to come to terms with that and begin treatment. So they fell out of touch. but those who are still around have new jobs and commitment. OP is still in contact with Bard and sometimes talk to Cleric, but Paladin essentially cut off contact with everyone, and OP never made an attempt to contact Ranger or Rogue again out of concern for his health. But after a while, OP missed DMing, so he put out a call in Discord and Facebook group to recruit players. So he's been playing with some brand new group for the last 5 months. OP said, "Sometimes I feel a little sad when I realize I'm playing with strangers instead of my actual friends. But with every session, I come to appreciate the strangers more and more. And on the bright side, the distance created by not knowing anyone personally will ensure this group won't have the same issues." So, I mean, this last part feels a bit sad because, like, you went from playing with, like, really close friends to now playing with strangers because of all this. So...
Boy, I need a drink.
Yeah.
That is such a terrifying story. Holy.
Yeah, well, Rogue was the asshole, man. I did her stuff. Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that's.
How dare I don't know, how dare they, like, use gender as a fucking shield. God damn it.
It's not gender, it's
Not
sexuality.
gender, sexuality.
Yeah, but not
Sexual
only
preferences.
that, but she insists she's done nothing wrong when she directly belittles someone in session.
That one was Ranger, if I recall correctly.
It
were both.
It was both of them. Ranger never say he was wrong. Ranger apologized, right? But
Yeah,
Ranger did
Ranger
apologize, that's correct.
yeah, Rogue was the one who said, "I did nothing wrong. It was not my fault, right?"
She does not have any sense of self-awareness.
Yeah.
So just to quickly go through the update here, some people have mentioned to OP that it's like, how could OP not know about the whole, drama that's been going on, the flirtations and all that, and this like drama brewing. So OP said, he said during the pandemic, RPGs were essentially the only regular social contact we would have with each other. So trying to keep the group going was his main priority. He also said it's important to once again point out that he is ace, and while being ace isn't an excuse for letting obviously manipulative behaviors aside, but it does mean that sometimes OP can't recognize the same cues as other allosexual, which I think like other than ace, I guess, particularly when it comes to flirting. So it usually goes over OP's head and needs to be pointed out to me.
And another thing is, I'm assuming this happened over, a long period of time.
And
for us, see the whole story in a few minutes, then we can see where the story is going. But like over a few months, over weeks, it's a bit hard to realize the small details.
Plus, they've been playing via online, and those cues are much harder to see because there's like a lack of body language and all. So
that's why you insight check with disadvantage when you try to scry someone by setting.
Sure. Anyway, and OP also said that Rogue, he understood that Rogue does not in any way represent the poly community, and poly relationships are actually built on trust and mutual respect. It's just Rogue was just being an asshole and using being poly as an excuse. And finally, he wanted to clarify that both Cleric and OP did immediately check up on Paladin after the whole like suicide unalived attempt and all that, and Cleric did talk to Paladin again after some point, but these days I do check in on Paladin occasionally. Unless I heard from him, he has found a new girlfriend who cares about him and seems to be happy, though understandably doesn't ever want to touch TTRPG ever again. So as for Ranger or Rogue, he said he hasn't personally spoken to either Ranger or Rogue, but from what he understood from Cleric, who still talks to Ranger, they're still together but are going through a bit of a rough patch. Apparently several months into their relationship, Rogue started seeing someone else behind Ranger's back, and when he found out, she threatened to leave him unless he accepted her for who she is, and he ended up begrudgingly consenting to the situation. So
It's like a
can't
full
be
big
getting
one.
away with this.
Now
She
it's-
can't keep getting away with this.
No, I mean like
I don't care what she calls herself, but like Aina said, right? The poly communities, what do you call that? Relationships are built upon trust.
Yeah.
The fact that she's seeing someone else behind paladins and rangers back, she's doing that not out of trust.
That's cheating.
Yeah.
Can we
That
just
is
say
just
cheating.
That is
Yeah.
cheating.
And can we just give some advice to people dating, in the real world out there?
Okay.
If they're willing to cheat with you, they will cheat on you down the road. That's like the universal rule almost. So be careful,
Yeah.
guys and girls.
Yeah, that is true.
Loyal
That is
is
true.
loyal. Once it's broken, don't trust that person ever again.
Yeah, I have a feeling why Ranger still wants to be with Rogue is because, he doesn't think he can get anyone better. So, it's better.
Yeah,
to
she's
be-
a model.
And
right?
again, she's a model, yeah.
She's a model. She plays the TRPG. So, oh wow, super big.
She's
Yeah.
basically an e-girl, and he
Yeah.
gets to date an e-girl, so he doesn't want to let that go.
Package. Yeah, but I mean, do you want to risk the heartbreak later on?
Yeah,
That's the
exactly. Like
thing.
that's
people-
the thing that he has to think about, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, if it were, I mean, if they were teenagers, I mean, that'll be worth it, right? Because you're not so invested in a relationship when you're teenagers.
Well,
But if you're an adult,
Assuming these are young adults, I think.
Cheating is still
Yeah.
cheating.
yeah,
No,
but
it's not about cheating. It's about the quote unquote social worth of your partner and how that elevates your standing in the eyes of society if you have that kind of partner with you, that kind of thing. So, yeah, some people relate their own self-worth with oh wow, look at me, I get to bag this kind of person, that kind of thing. So the cooler my partner is, the better I am, basically, which is not great, honestly, but that's something you kind of figured out on your own and not what people need to tell you, because people can tell you, but to change you need to want to do it on your own. So you just gotta keep touching that fire until you had enough of being burned, is all. So yeah, anyway, we still have 2 more sections to go, so this one was a bit long.
Everybody's extending their session.
So let's just go to see what's brewing, I guess.
Alright.
And we're here.
Wait, sorry, I needed to take a breather, but alright. I'm back, everyone.
Gotta do
Alright.
your mission, man. You can't just take a breather like that. Push it.
Get me a hit of jet. Alright. Welcome everyone to the Homebrew Highlights. That was rough, but hey, anyway. Where we take a deep dive across the interweb to find out homebrew delights. Let's see what's brewing for this episode. Drinking! The pastime of any hardy adventurer. We've all seen it. The party regrettably asks for the finest ale of the tavern,
Kau tak ingat
drinks it all in one scene, rolls constitution,
ambil buat
fade to
balik.
black.
Sebab tu abang tak ingat abang punya training apa baik.
Okay, anyway.
I
Okay.
think furry. Yeah.
Anyway, just as I was saying, you roll constitution and then seed fades to black. DM narrates everything and tries to make it work on his favor. Quite boring, to be honest.
My brother in Christ, remain muted if you're gonna talk in the
Anyway, I'm getting a little tipsy here as well. Why not start it out
Osmosis.
instead of leaving it to the fate of the DM with a few tables and sheets with user assumedly comical's drinking rules, 5e drinking rules. He also has a book filled with a lot of alcohol-related rules and classes apparently for 5e. You can go check out his Kickstarter campaign that's currently happening. A lot of his homebrew items as well are a set of rules that he published, that he's sort of publishing in the book, and it's just small snippets is in his Reddit page. He also posted something recently, cool magic tech. You can go check it out soon, right after the segment. But yeah, now let's get in with the content, shall we? So, the drinking rules by assumedly comical. It states that each now when you're creating a character, you have to also dictate their drinking tolerance. Now here we see in the table that these are recommended tolerance levels for the race depending on what your character is, but it's like the text say, this is just a recommendation. You don't have to follow this arbitrary rule. You can, if you want to play an air genasi who's like, who's really a heavy drinker, go ahead. You can just say that your character has a heavyweight in terms of tolerance. So again, depending on which how big your tolerance on alcohol your character is, there's several there's a limit on how much alcohol fluid intake they can take in. Based on the calculations of this sheet, 1 mug of ale is 12 ounces, so I didn't calculate that to milliliters, so I'm sorry everyone in the international audience. Lightweights are only able to reasonably sustain 1 to 5 drinks of mugs of ale. Medium weights are able to do up to 16 to 15 mugs of ale, and heavyweights are able to do 16 to 30 mugs of ale. So some would say even a barrel of ale, and afterwards, once you've decided for your character what's their tolerance level, we go to the tolerance table. So the tolerance level dictates what is the limit of alcohol your player character can consume. Now, depending on how many drinks of okay, I've done the calculation. It's 350 milliliters. So depending on how much alcohol your character has consumed, it's 350 milliliters or 12 ounces, and a cup of ale. Let's just say, if it is 1/4 of their tolerance, the following character will gain +2 to all of their charisma checks. Some people, when they drink, they lose their inhibitions, but they're more free. They lose the sense of anxiety and fear, and sometimes, they get groovy. But it can go over the top once they go 3/4 of their once they go over past half of their tolerance. If they drank past, let's say for a lightweight, past 3 mugs of ale, at that point, I'm pretty sure they become the life of the party, and they get a +3 to all charisma checks. But at this point, of course, definitely, you'd start forgetting some things, and neurons would be slowing down in your brain. You gain disadvantage to all intelligence checks, and have a -4 to perception. If your player decides to go further on and, drink irresponsibly, first of all, why don't you have any of your party members there to stop you? Secondly, you'll gain -1 to your charisma checks. Because at this point, you're being quite of an asshole, I assume, being a drunkard. 3/4 of your tolerance, you get -1 to all your charisma checks instead of an additional bonus. And disadvantage to all intelligence and dexterity checks. On top of that, a -6 to perception. Now, here is the tipping point, where I assume probably only the heavyweights, narratively get to this point. Anyone past their tolerance, I'm pretty sure the barkeep would have kicked them out easily. Past your tolerance, so for heavyweights, past drinking 30 mugs of ale. For lightweights, past drinking just 5 mugs of ale. This is where things get interesting, and definitely the DM can have some fun with this. The player, each time, from what I'm reading about this, I can't say how many times they roll from the blackout table, but I feel from what I'm reading, I think they roll once from the blackout table, and that'll be the outcome of the night. But during the interim, the player will be under these status effects. Every time they make a charisma check, they must roll a d10, and depending on the result of the roll, 1 to 5 means a positive modifier. So good outcome. You roll a 5 from the d10, you get a +5 to your charisma check. Past 6 and above, so rolling a 6 on a d10, you get a -6. Again, you're drunk, it's all up in the air. Yeah, it's now more crunchier than ever in the terms of statistics and whatnot. But that's not all, and like the inhibition that alcohol is, it gets worse. You have disadvantage, and on top of that, a -5 to all intelligence, dexterity, wisdom, and wisdom checks, and all of the saving throws up above. You also can't see at this point. I mean, come on, even with a -10 perception, only
That's
druids,
just blind.
I assume, with high. Yeah, I mean druids maybe with high whiz, they
You
would like
assume
still
druids
be.
would have high wisdom. I mean, they would possibly, but you know.
I mean, yeah.
My rogue has +8 to perception, so he'd be fine.
Sorry, I'm what now?
Yeah, expertise in perception, man.
Oh, right, the expertise. I forgot.
Well, yeah, like if you have
Yeah.
like what 10 score in perception or an 8,
Yeah, you're just 0.
that is just I can't see. I'm blind.
It's
You have to
realistic.
roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to
You
roll
have a drink yourself and then you just go blind.
You have to roll above a 10 if your modifier is 10. If your wisdom modifier is a 10. No, wisdom score is a 10, so it's a 0. Yeah, it's a rough night. Anyway, those are the status effects that your player character will be under the effect of during this certain phase. But when the DM so chooses and the night ends and the next day dawns, this is when the effect of the blackout table takes place. It's a spicy one. You roll a d6, and depending on the outcome of the d6, there are several ends to your wondrous
my
night
God.
about. As you
So-
can see right now on the screen.
So when they said like every time any drinks past your tolerance, every time you drink one drink, you have to roll on this table.
Oh
Yeah,
boy.
Yeah, I think that's what it means.
Oh boy. I don't like to see these stacked. I don't like to see one of these. So good luck to anyone applying these. But anyway, the blackout table, as you can see here, are just a cherry on the top of the disastrous night that the player had subjected themselves into. My most favorite of them all is free vacation. When you roll a 6 on the blackout table, your player character appears 3d4 miles away from your current
gosh.
party at the start of the day, with the only clue your remaining party members receiving of your whereabouts being a gone out spelled
Going
with a
out.
G O-Y-N.
Going out.
And- I'd hate to roll 6 more times than 1. Imagine being that.
Just suddenly stranded 60 miles away from the party in one night somehow.
Dude, okay, I like this. I like this blackout table. It gives me an idea for like the start of either a one shot or a campaign. Because imagine you start the campaign with like everybody just having a blackout night of just drinking, and then like everyone just suddenly one person is all the way out here, and then like I don't know, I just find it funny. Maybe
The
not
Witcher
like
2 Assassins of Kings has an amazing side quest where you get. Well, actually, it might not be a side quest. I think it's a main quest. You get blackout drunk and you wake up with like a tattoo on your neck.
Oh yeah,
No idea what
yeah.
happened. Half the people hate you for some reason. It's great.
Coincidentally, there is also a role in this table where you unsavourily get a matching tattoo with a
Not
commoner.
so blank slate. Matching
It has
people.
all the fashion, all the knickknacks. So
It's
yeah,
delightful.
Yeah, drinking rules. Make life even more reality. Make
Oh my
D&D
God.
even more like reality, and drinking even much more worse than it seems to be.
I
Remember, folks, drink
mean,
responsibly, and good night. That's all for Homebrew highlights. Have a nice day.
I
I
have
would
another
like
homebrew. Wait, no.
You make it sound like we're done for today.
I know. No,
We're up for one last segment. We're
here's
pushing
what
the
I got.
time.
Okay, hear me out. What I do in my
Okay.
campaigns, and it only works once, is when a character gets like really, really drunk, fails a bunch of saves and everything, right? You tell them they have advantage on everything, whatever they try. In truth, they have disadvantage, of course, but you get them to believe they have advantage. You gaslight them into it, and just watch them roll a few times in succession, and just interpret the result as failures, or rather, as disadvantages instead of advantages. Describe their success, and then describe what's actually happening to the rest of the party.
That's a cool idea. Okay, go ahead. Roll persuasion with advantage. So you become this very great storyteller. In actuality, you take the lower roll, which is just.
And the rest of the party just sees you like.
You see the lower roll. Yeah.
Nonsense and vomiting on the stage.
Oh my God.
We played the. Anyway, yeah. We have one final segment for tonight, folks. And it's
to
our
hear
dear friend
more of
Crit.
Crit's great tips, let's go to his section. Woo.
Hello, hi, and welcome to DM Academy. Sometimes also called GM Academy, depending on how I feel that day. And today we are here to learn about how to hopefully become better GMs and better players by proxy, I guess. You know, doesn't hurt to know this stuff. So, today's topic is combat. And who here loves combat?
teacher, sir,
I
sir.
love crunchy
Sir.
combat.
I think Fire has a question.
Yes, you with the funny mask?
The
You forgot to
bag.
say classes in session and to take our seats.
Well,
No, we don't know if we should should we sit on the floor?
yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't have my script ready. Sorry, let me just shuffle some papers around here. The class is now in session. Please take your seats. Thank you.
Yeah, okay, take a seat.
Okay.
Alright, that's it. That's
We
it,
are
everyone.
this entire time.
I think we got a class nerd over there. Alright, so,
Is that what the teacher's supposed to say?
when they're a cool teacher like me, yeah, absolutely.
Hey.
I'm with the bullies on this one. But okay, so real talk. Combat. Some people really love it, and some people really hate it, and some people are just kind of lukewarm on the idea. And it obviously stems from different, I guess, goals, understandings, desires from the game. So let's start with war, I guess. Yeah, or you've seen the least combat in the game. So, what aspect of combat do you like, if there is an aspect of combat that you like in the first place?
Or I like to think au contraire on the seeing least combat. I may not be in a lot of campaigns, but I spent majority of my quarantines in a multitude of one shots, like one every day.
Oh, okay.
Actually,
Yeah, maybe.
I played a one shot in school. I played a goblin monk fighting a dragon. God.
Wonderful.
Okay. Yeah, combat. I love it. As a player, I kind of love the nuanced balance in a game for a campaign. Anyways, between RP and combat, because definitely we need breather rooms and allow space to build stakes for the battles and the dungeons we're crawling, whatnot, so forth. If it's a rapid pace action scene, it starts to become tiring. It's become a numbers game instead of a role playing game, managing spell slots, abilities, whatnot. In prefaces, the one thing I love about combat is the story being told by the combat itself. Is, I guess,
Wonderful answer. Yeah, that's a very good, wonderful answer that I completely agree with, and I'll go into it in a bit. But Thank you very much for your answer. What about you, Farid? You're a bit of a number munchkin, right? What do you like about combat?
Oh well, I mean, combat. The way you do it, I think it's up to your DM how you do it, right? Because in D&D, the rules as written, it doesn't tell you much on how to do combats. Just tell you, oh, there's a monster and the rules how to engage in combat, but not so much in how to make it interesting, right? So what I like about based on my experience, what my awesome DM used to do is make the combat team dynamic. You see, for example, we start off with combat. We encounter a group of enemies, and they seem weak. We can kill them in 1 or 2 turns, or they cannot even do anything to us, right? But at turn 5, then everything changes. Like maybe a new challenger arrives, or let's say a new danger is being introduced. It changes the dynamic of the combat. So instead of you as a character feel you're powerful, and then suddenly, oh my god, I'm almost dead. What am I supposed to do? Should we run? Should we do something else? So I like the way he does it, because the combat, sometimes you have straight up combat. You go in, you kill people, and then you're done. But sometimes you have like War said, there's some story elements into it. When they change the dynamic of the combat.
Yeah, absolutely. You can definitely tell a story, both like the game story and the character story through combat. And it takes practice and patience to do it right, as in not to overwhelm your characters either which way. I'll get to it in a sec, though. I shouldn't go on tangents just yet until I ask Aina, how about you? What do you like about combat?
I get to cast spells.
Fair enough. Is it just the sheer awesomeness of obliterating your enemies with fireballs that draws you in?
So, yeah. Like seeing them go down one by one is so great, and just spinning that combat tracker,
Fair enough.
And just I don't know, just seeing how crazy damage can get at higher level is just like great. It's
yeah.
My enjoyment in combat is very simple. Because I'm not the one to make all the the tactical moves or whatnot and stuff. I just I have this. It'd be cool to use it and see how many damage I can make.
That's what I mean. Everybody's in combat for a different reason, and that's exactly what I meant.
And honestly, DMing wise, I think combat's the one that I prefer most rather than the exploration and all. Because it's pretty straightforward. You just run a combat. You have what you need to do. Just follow that plan.
A useful tool.
Yeah.
As a GM.
It takes us so much time. I don't have to roleplay. It's great. As a DM.
Mine. Okay. Okay, as a DM. Okay, I was worried for a second there, because
no.
You do a lot of roleplaying for a person who doesn't like roleplaying.
I don't like roleplaying as DM, but as a player, that's like my whole thing. Okay.
All right, thank you very much, Aina. And finally, Rain. What do you like about combat?
I like it when I make my player almost lose.
You see the sadist? My God.
No, because it's because I throw a lot of different kinds of combat. So you guys, when I run as a GM, recently, if you guys notice, there's a lot more like fuck you, fireball, and it's there are like some fun combats and everything, but the ones that I think the best are like when you guys are like pushed to your very limits in terms of strategy and like character wise, till you have no idea what's gonna happen. Are we gonna actually die? Are we gonna succeed? Are we gonna fail? And at that point, the story becomes like that. There's no kind of like one possibility, and there's so many. The story opens up basically, rather than just okay, we're gonna kill this guy and then go in there. When you have this more kind of like when you're pushed to your limits, the story becomes like, okay, there's so many. We could run away, we could fight and try to do this. Maybe we can make a bargain with something. It becomes so much more. And usually my player do some crazy shit, and I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, let's do that now. Okay, yeah, let's go. For example, war. Last Rust Engine.
Stabby McHappy.
You mean Ghoulie Medulie?
Yes, but those are the situations that I really like in terms of combat. Because usually when I give simple combat, it's simple: kill the guy, move on. But when I push you to the very limit, that's when you guys do something unexpected, and that's what I really like about D&D in general. You guys do some crazy shit that I don't expect, and I'm like, hell yeah, let's do this now. So yeah.
I hate those moments the most.
That's why I don't do those every single combat. Because it gets tiring.
At the risk of sounding like a board member in a very boring meeting, I will say it's all about that balance. Yes. But it's true. When doing most things, including combat in D&D, you do have to look at it this way, right? If you have two types of combats or two types of encounters, you have the kind that kind of invites players by, in no uncertain terms, being easier. So the players will want to do it because they see it as straightforward, something they can easily engage with. Obviously, it doesn't mean you run into 7 goblins on the road, kill them, and move on, but rather just smaller stakes that then, after those, you can build up stakes and then keep going up and down. Because if you constantly do a very easy combat, players won't ever really engage with. They'll walk in, throw 2 fireballs, and walk out, and it's gonna continue and it's gonna get boring. But if you do incredibly difficult combat back to back, players are gonna start stressing the hell out about it, and it's gonna make them not actually want to play because they'll be dreading combat because it's always, razor's edge. So it is kind of about finding that balance. Obviously, different things work for every group, and there's no one way to figure this out. But something that I think we can all agree on is that combat can really, really take too long sometimes. And, people have different life hacks on how to shorten the length of combat. Some people have the whole roll your attack and damage at the same time. That's certainly something that can shave off seconds. But there can be more to it. There should be more to it. And if you'll hear me out about this...
Alright.
Okay. So, first, something that might be a bit bold. Combat shouldn't last for too many rounds. I think 3, maybe 5 rounds? 3 to 5, I guess.
Yeah.
For me, is a golden standard. If it goes more than 5, it's dragging on. If it goes less than 3, it's probably, or rather fewer than 3, then it's a very short fight, and it's one of those 2 fireballs and walk out fights. So aim for that golden 3, and if it's a bigger fight, drop it to 5, but that's where it should go. And each fight should tell some kind of a story, and here's how I've read you should do it. You start at the initiative count of whoever's at the top, right? How Rain does the planning phase, there can be another thing, which is kind of a summary of what just happened. So, obviously you allow your players to plan and prepare for their, eventual turn, which, by the way, if you're in combat and you're new to D&D, unless something like springs up right before your turn, you should know what you're gonna do when your turn starts. Like, don't start your turn and go, I don't know what I want to do. Like, figure it out. You have time.
When someone says that, I'm gonna start counting 6, 5.
because experienced players usually have their turns done in 15 seconds, unless they have questions or something goes wrong, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know exactly what you want to do. Point A to point C. You use up your bonus action, your main action, your movement, everything. Just lay it out, done. But like newer players tend to take like 5 minutes sometimes, and that can really add up over 3 or more rounds.
Yeah.
So
especially if we have like a bunch of enemies in the tracker as well, in the initiative.
Yep. So as a side note, try to keep that in mind. Be ready. But as for the whole story thing I was talking about, as a dungeon master, at the start of the initiative, try to tell a story through combat. So let's say on the previous turn, like right as the combat ended, one of your guys managed to down a guard, right? Or not a guard, perhaps. Don't be fighting guards. It's mean. He downs a thug. The next round of combat, narrate a bit. Mention what the players did in order to make them feel seen and acknowledged in the combat itself. And then describe their reactions. So the tides are slowly changing, These thugs see their man go down, and suddenly, they're thinking about leaving, running away. They decide to fight harder, Can be anything, really.
Teacher.
Yep.
A counterpoint to that. Would not adding another layer to this, describing, reiterating what the scene was, or the prior round of combat is, wouldn't it be adding a bit more time to it? I know it would make it much more smoother, as you said.
I think it's like just a one-liner kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what Rain does usually. Like, hey,
so,
you just saw your friend do this, and this happened, that kind of thing. Right?
Yeah, so it doesn't have to be anything. You don't have to narrate. You don't have to Matt Mercer it up with every sentence, right? You can just say, oh, seeing their allies fall, the 2 remaining thugs look towards the exit. Next turn. Like, that was 5 seconds or less, So, it doesn't really have to add up. Not really. And mentioning the previous actions from previous characters can make combat feel more personal and have them feel seen. Because in some combats, it happens, inevitably. It gets reduced to I attack, I roll damage, or I roll damage, that's my turn.
Yeah.
But if instead, as a dungeon master, you narrate the start of the next turn, like, for example, with John having blown off the head of the previous kobold, the rest are now scattering, it makes John feel seen. It gives him a bit of a spotlight, even though his turn was like 7 seconds because he knew what he was doing. So it's just that extra feel good, less dice damage, okay, move on. Damage, move on. Because that gets repetitive and boring really quickly. So you kind of create a flow of fighting, or rather rolling dice, and telling story through that. And that can go a very long way. Especially if you have a solid reason of why this combat is happening in the first place. Like, obviously random encounters are a thing, but too many can really ruin flow of the campaign. That would be a solid word. And my advice to all rookie GMs out there, you don't need to have a combat every session. When I was starting out, I was like struggling, trying to figure out how to give combat for every session ever. Like, oh, maybe they get attacked by bandits, maybe rats in an alleyway attack them, Like, I was stressing out about this. And then a friend of mine was like, you don't have to have combat. Like, I've had 3 sessions back to back without a single round of combat.
Yeah.
And it was so baffling to me when I just started. But now, I have sessions without combat sometimes, and, depending on your players, obviously, it can work. It can be fun.
Do be aware though, when there's no combat, you will have to prep a little bit extra than usual.
Of course.
Yeah, because it's like combat's a tool. If you want, like, for example, if you fuck up and like the player does not go where you expected them to go, maybe you can throw in some random combat that kind of fits with what you want to do in the first place. That way, there's something happening there, and then you can delay the session a little bit. You can spend some time to improvise while the player is fighting the monster. It's a tool, so
Yeah.
Use it wisely.
Random encounters can be a very good tool.
I got you.
Okay.
It's a delay.
It is
I got you. AKA
Yes.
that
Sometimes, yeah.
great terror that we fought.
Oh no, that was like fully planned. Like you rolled a 10 and then you got that. I'm like, oh, okay then.
Yeah.
This will be fun.
And then the man who rolled a 10 just left us to clean up the mess. Thanks a lot, man.
Yeah, I give you the strategy to, overcome that combat, right? We hide, we hit from that thing.
An example of random encounter is actually the fight that you had just outside the city walls. Though you see the token, not even my usual token. Yeah, that one improvised. Yeah.
Yeah. So GMs, be careful with that. Don't throw too many senseless fights. Try to give it some deeper meaning, even if it is random.
Mm-hmm.
Like, have it be a hook for something else, have it be something personal to any player.
Yeah.
Or just have a reward for that combat be something personal to the story of one player, you know?
For example, that monster fight, that one's just to show like how dangerous Shimon is. Like, Shimon's supposed to be like a place with monsters and everything, but if J5 stayed outside for several hours and no monsters attack him, it'll be kind of weird. So I thought, you could throw in there, show that there's monsters around. So a little bit of story in there, even though it's a random encounter.
I'm just salty there was no diamonds on that thing, despite Diamond clearly inviting us in.
Yep.
Regarding the Shimon fight, I mean, more to add more to the story, I feel like it's to show the inhabitants of the city how much ass can kick.
I know.
I feel like that's all we do these days, guys. The ego is getting to our head here.
That's one of us. And then they were thinking of teaming up with us to handle the disaster, right? And then look at that ass. Look at what they did. They didn't even take any damage from the monster.
Okay, and with that in mind, I don't know if you guys heard the bell, but the class ended like 35 minutes ago.
Okay.
So, thanks for staying. It's been real. Thanks for listening. I hope you all took something away from this. Thank you for coming, and get the hell out of my classroom, yeah?
Okay, bye.
And also, thank you to everybody who came in to watch. You've all been lovely. Enjoy some memes, handpicked by none other than Aina. And we'll see you next week.
Bye.
But I really